Thank you so much. We will have to wait a couple of minutes on the State Secretary, so in the meantime, we will talk about Nysnø. So it's not sufficient to just have a mature technology if it's not profitable. Nysnø is the Norwegian state's climate investment company, and Nysnø is a symbol of a proper winter that we want to keep in the future. Jean-Baptiste Curien works as investment manager at Nysnø and will tell us about the Norwegian competitive advantage when it comes to CCS and what he thinks about the future economics of CCS. The floor is yours, Jean-Baptiste.
Kevin, thank you, Bellona, for inviting us today to present Nysnø to that conference. I'd like to start, I know I'm preaching to the choir doing that, but I'd like just to start to put a little bit of perspective. Why do we need CCS? Why is it so important? We all know the climate challenge we are facing, and I just want to say that before starting with CCS, there is plenty of other things to do, but CCS is a large part of a catalog of solutions. The first one, which is the most important one, is demand reducing the demand for high material, highly energy-intensive processes. When we have done as much as we can in reducing the demand, then we need to produce the thing we need to do with a low carbon footprint, using greener energy, other innovative process to produce the food, the material we need in our everyday life. And when those two things are not possible, then, and only then, we need CCS. And it's unbypassable. We all know there is a lot of very heavy industry processes like cement industry, steel production, that are facing quite a lot of technical challenge to decarbonize the way they are produced today. So CCS will be there and has to be there. And if we have, and when we have not completed our mission doing those three things, then we'll have to pump out the CO2 out of the atmosphere. I hope we won't have to do that in a very extensive way, but that's the kind of pyramid of priorities and the way to fight climate change. That said, CCS, according to the EER net zero emission scenario, we will have to store annually 7.6 gigaton of CO2. It's 1 ton per person, give or take, in 2050. 1 ton CO2, I don't need to give an order of magnitude, but it's about a tenth of your emission today in Norway. So it's quite a lot. And Rune, you were saying 100 million ton, right? So those order of magnitude, we just need to see how big will be this industry in 2050, from a challenge to an opportunity. So if you then try to look at how much business, and it's not a bad word to use business in that case, because we need to build a business around that to make it happen. It will be around, if you take 50 euros per ton CO2, large debate around how much it will cost at the end, but if you take that order of magnitude, it will be 400 billion euros per year to store and make this industry work. In Norway, we like a lot to use the oil fund as a unit and metrics, and it's about a third of it every year that you need to mobilize. But a cost is a price for some, and it's very important again that it becomes a business case, business model. So capture, transport, storage. That is really interesting because CCS has been an academic, then an engineering case, still heavily engineering case, but it has to be now taken to the next step, the business women and men that needs to build the 7.6 gigaton resources in the future. What would it look like? We have some kind of very interesting case now with Longship and Northern Light that shows how this could be put into motion. But there is several ways to look at that. You can have actors that position themselves in each of these verticals that are quite different if you look at them. Capture is equipment and installation of heavy process in the industry. Transport, it's about logistic, and storage is about those reservoirs, right? You could think on business case where transport and storage are done by the same group of actors, like a bit in the waste industry, waste management industry. Or you can even think of business model where you integrate everything and you do as a service, storage as a service. Just quickly on the economics of it. So everyone knows the learning curve, scaling down of the cost by duplicating again and again the same processes. Economically, you reach a kind of profitability after a large scaling and long scaling effect, process. And the blue area is how the cost for the community to develop the processes. The second curve is the S curve, and this one is the one we are now engaging with the CCS. Early mover, Longship, Northern Light is on the first round there, but we need to make it mainstream, and we need to make it mainstream very quickly to achieve our goal. And to do that, the blue case here, which is fed by grant, which is fed by risk capital, industrial capital, this needs to be boosted in order to make it happen quicker. And this, just to introduce why Nysnø has been set up. Nysnø has been set up to actually do this catalytical work very upstream, to support the development of technology, appearance of new business model, and make it happen as quick as possible. So our mandate, very quickly, on Nysnø, we are owned by the state government, by the Norwegian state, sorry, and we are financing through equity companies that develop low-carbon solutions. We are doing co-investment, and we have done so far, since 2018, 12 direct investment in company and 7 in funds that have a similar mandate than ours. And I'd like to take the opportunity today to present one of our portfolio companies, ZEG Power, which is in the CCS world or ecosystem, and in a very particular way, because ZEG Power is producing hydrogen from methane gas with carbon sequestration. It's a very innovative process. It's called blue hydrogen, familiar for most of you, I'm sure. It's a very innovative and compact process to produce that hydrogen in a very more effective and cheap way. ZEG is now, together with CCB, building the first demo plant in Bergen, in Kollsnes, in the vicinity of Northern Light project. So that's a kind of demonstration of how you could build business and produce a molecule, which it will be very important in the 2050 net scenario project, very, very important. So that is about to happen now. What is also very interesting with that technology and the production of hydrogen from methane molecule is that you can do that from biogas as well, and that you can push it one step further, because biogas, so it's basically carbon which is coming from the atmosphere. If you reform it into hydrogen and store the CO2 that comes out from that process, you have a negative effect, that negative CO2 effect, that you pump effectively CO2 out from the atmosphere through the plant into the reservoir. So you have a kind of effective way of producing hydrogen with as well as negative CO2 sequestration. With that, Eivind, that was my presentation. Thank you very much.